Hey guys, today we're going to be doing James's route on Seduce Me the Otome. This one's gonna be way more serious since it's like in the middle of the night and I'm alone, but I really just wanted to get this video out so I'll have time to do the other routes throughout the week. But we should probably get into it this time. I'm just going to be doing the voice acting for myself and the other voice actors, such as like Christopher Escalante and the others, basically Michaela Laws as Diana. You're going to hear like their voice acting because my voice is kind of like still recovering from the sickness. The only reason I could do it last night is because I was actually drinking a lot of fluids. But hopefully we can actually seem to get a serious actual whole James's route done without any interruptions. My father might come in here and there because he has like coffee to get, and this is like in the middle of the kitchen, so hopefully this is decent enough to actually get a decent amount of views and likes. But without further ado, let's try and get into the gameplay. My Steam's pretty weird. Also comment if you would like me to do Ultimate Custom Night or Crush Crush. The Ultimate Custom Night I've actually made it to 2,000. I'm just trying to get to 3,000. I could have swore that I was logged into Steam, but apparently not. What was my password? Okay, there it is. That was weird because I was actually just playing Crush Crush while I was making the thumbnail for this, the thumbnail sketch. Oh, ignore that. Oh no. Anyway, let's actually get into it this time. I have a very comfortable setup at the moment. So, what? I'm having a bit of malfunctions, apparently. But, anyway, once again, we're going to be doing James's route. Of course, we have to turn on the voice acting. Ah, crap. The background music is pretty good. Like, the whole Seduce Me soundtrack for both of the games. I've actually played the second game on mobile, because before I had the Steam account, I bought it on mobile. So I'll probably, like, in a few months, I'll probably be able to get like a Demon War in this one. But anyway, let's get right into James's route. This is a fictional interactive narrative. Any character resemblance to real-life people are purely coincidental. Also, please know that the following game is made for PG-16 audiences. Please note that the sexual, violent themes are explored in this game. Trigger warnings, abuse, implied rape, and suicide. You have been warned. Basically, I mean, if you're 13 and up, that would be good. But if you're like 12, you have to be like mature enough to watch this. But I don't have room to talk because I was watching stuff like way worse when I was 5. But here you go. Please enjoy.
Why, hello. My, aren't you a gorgeous sight? Can I be honored enough to know your name?
Since I'm not playing with my sister, I'm just going to do my name specifically.
A lovely name for a lovely person like you. Wonderful.
Eric, do your job.
Very well. This game was produced by Seraphim Entertainment under the direction of Michaela Laws and is powered by Ren'Py Visual Novel Engine. We truly hope you'll enjoy this story. I know I'll enjoy it since you'll be in it.
Eric.
Fine, fine. Farewell, my sweet.
Anyway, I was about to say I'll have all of the voice actors and the credits and the links to all their channels if I can find them in the bio. Just give them a lot of support if you don't already. Sub to them. I've actually been binge watching a lot of Michaela's videos with her Dead by Daylight highlights. Pretty interesting. Anyway, but
come on, is that all you got? Wanna try me, asshole? Crap! Missed.
Let's retreat for now.
No kidding. Let's get out of here.
That's right. You better run, you stupid punks. Stay out of our territory.
call it fate or call it coincidence. That one moment of violence started a chain of events I will never forget.
This formula, created in the 70s, is one of the most important in the field of financial theory. It is used to calculate the price of European-style options and is widely used by option marketers, though there are some discrepancies that are now corrected with the modern viewpoint.
Rain. It's been a long time since we've gotten rain around here, but it is the season for rainy weather, so it's not exactly that surprising. Personally, I love the sound of it. The way the raindrops fell, like the soft tapping of fingers. It was soothing. Even looking at the droplets hit the glass of the window was strangely calming. For this reason, I felt lucky for having a seat next to the window, though I did spend more time staring outside than I did paying attention in class. The lectures in class were pretty boring. Miss Phillips' voice was soporific, but I just wasn't interested in what she was saying. And since it was the period right before lunch, all I could think about was doing other things in my free time. Honestly, I didn't really care much for economics. Sure, I had good grades in this class, but it was only because I read the textbooks and did my assignments as I had to. I was only taking this class because it was mandatory. If it were up to me, I would probably have taken another course. Luckily, it was my senior year, so after the semester it would mean the end of high school courses forever. Thank God for that. I didn't hate high school. It was just kind of mundane how the days drifted on and on as if there were no end to it. The only thing I really enjoyed about going to school was meeting my friends and hanging out with them. But that was kind of it. In short, I was done with high school. The start of second semester brought a note of finality to it. I had already applied to many universities this semester prior, and I was expecting replies sometimes in the next few months. It seemed like the start of something new, something that would change. That is, if things could change. I stared at the faint outline of raindrops in the distance for now. I was stuck in this class.
Miss Anderson.
Miss Phillips' raised voice interrupted my train of thought. Just when I was thinking about class, I quickly turned my head to face the teacher. Hopefully she didn't pick me just because she knows that I was spacing out. Yes, ma'am?
Would you care to name the equation I set up on the blackboard?
Oh, I think I read about that in the textbook last night. It should be the Black-Scholes model form. The Black-Scholes model formula.
Very good as always, Miss Anderson.
Anderson. It followed me wherever I went. Most people didn't really know me by my first name, but rather by my surname. No doubt, since the surname was the trademark of the internationally famous and philanthropic Anderson Family Toys. And because the founder was my own grandfather. Suzu, one of my best friends, turned around and proudly gave me a punch to the shoulder.
Kick ass, girl.
From beside me, I heard Naomi, another one of my best friends, clearing her throat in obvious disapproval of Suzu's choice of words.
She means good job.
Miss Capini.
Oi.
Care to tell me who the creators of this formula were?
Some guys named Black and Scholes. Fisher Black and Myron Scholes.
Very good, Miss Patterson.
Show off. Better study next time, Suzu. Be like us and study once in a while.
Suzu rolled her eyes and slouched into her chair as Naomi gave her a small smirk. She always pouted when Naomi showed her up.
That's the end of today's lecture. Now, let's separate into groups and work on your projects. Remember, everything is due on Monday. Go ahead now.
Before I knew it, Suzu and Naomi had scooted their desks to align with mine, and we turned into the Three Musketeers. Whenever the teacher let the students decide on groups, we always grouped together in a little trio. It was a sheer stroke of luck that we all managed to be in the same class, so we had at least the opportunity to stick together as much as we could. Besides, we were most comfortable around each other than, say, compared to being around any other classmate. It just made sense for us to butt our heads together for any kinds of object. Wait, subject? I don't know. I took out the poster we were working on and rolled it up onto 3 desks. We were pretty much finished with fulfilling most of the guidelines for the project, though we did still have to add a few finishing touches here and there. After working on making the poster a bit prettier, we sat back and inspected our work to see what we still had to do. Naomi, as usual, was the first to look for any issues. She lightly tapped a pencil against her chin, staring intently at the project.
All right, so let's see. We finished the budgeting section, the building leasing, and the cost for labor. What else do we need?
Suzu straightened up to look at the poster and stroked her chin. After a few seconds, her face brightened up as she spoke.
How about a company name?
She spoke. Oh my god. I need to learn how to read.
Huh? Did we really skip over that? Of course we did. You always go straight into the logical statistics and stuff that you completely skip over the fact. We need a name for our project. At least we caught it this time. What do we name it? Not sure. What do you think?
It always came down to me. Whenever there was something to be named or titled, I was the master and ending decision. Even when I didn't want to be.
I like Trinity Corporations. That is way too predictable. How would what do dragons have to do with our project? What? It's a totally unpredictable name. It's hot. But our company sells bubble gum. Who said we can't produce spicy bubble gum? Yeah. What do you think?
Both of them looked at me unexpectedly. Even though I wasn't sure myself, I didn't really want to choose sides, but if it were up to me, I would say Trinity Corporation sounds just fine.
Bah, fine. Be lame. Alright, now that we've decided on a name, now what?
As we ended our name game, a giggle scrambled my thoughts. Huh? Who was that?
Ignore it. It's just Lisette.
I looked over my shoulder to see her laughing with her circle of friends, mostly comprised of popular people that were practically friends with everyone in the school. And as a result, everyone in the school knew them. In the center of it all was Lisette White. She sat with a poster that indicated she was still working, but that she also was ready to casually chat about her day. She had an endearing balance of charismatic and awkward, which was readily apparent when she first talked to someone. It was easy to make her smile and laugh, but she was quite the comedian as well. Basically, she was perfect. Not that she was like a robot or something, but she was a student that everyone else wanted to be. Lisette was bright, easygoing, and above all, had her future laid out right in front of her. Unlike the average student, she knew what she wanted to do after high school, and as a result, she was confident and ambitious. Though sometimes it could rub a lot of people the wrong way. Moreover, I had known her since I was young, but it had ultimately resulted in a rivalry that continued today. Of course, my friends knew what was between us, and upon seeing me glance at her, they shifted their attention to her.
She doesn't even look like she's working, in my opinion. She probably is, but she's too much of a stuck-up priss to allow herself to look like she's actually doing work. Oh, come on, Suzu. She may be a little off-putting, but she's not the giant priss that you're making her seem to be. The day she isn't a priss is the day I turn into you. What's that supposed to mean? Never mind. It's about time. Let's bail.
Unsurprisingly, Suzu was the first one out of the classroom, slinging her backpack over her shoulder with ease as she quickly strolled out the door.
Her seat isn't even closest to the exit, and she always manages to be the first one out of the door. I don't think I'll ever understand that.
I wish I was as fast as her getting out of there. Naomi folded her arms close to her chest, giving me a disappointed look.
Oh, not you, too. She's turning you into a delinquent.
It's a joke, Naomi.
Well, it's not really funny. Man, you guys are slow. Are you coming or what? We heard you the first time. Not everyone has rocket boosters attached to their legs when the bell rings. Are you kidding me? That class was ridiculously boring. Even Miss Valedictorian here was dozing off a bit.
I do have to admit I was spacing out, and just because I answered one question doesn't mean I'm automatically the valedictorian.
Okay, so it wasn't too interesting, but you should at least pay attention when Phillips is talking about the important parts. So you finally admit it. We're finally on the same wavelength. Welcome to the club, Patterson. Please, don't call me by my last name. This isn't the classroom. And never in a million years will we ever see things eye to eye.
Despite this, they both burst out into laughter. Normally, anyone would think that opposites like them wouldn't ever associate with each other. But even though they were so different, their friendship somehow made a lot of sense. Maybe they were just perfect complements, or personality just didn't indicate the possibility of their friendship. After all, we three had been best friends since preschool.
All right, so where are we heading to first? Cafeteria? I think we can all agree that we're really hungry, especially after hearing about our company's line of deliciously spicy bubblegum. Who would even buy that? I wonder. Me? I would pay good money.
Honestly, I would. You do like spicy food after all. We entered the cafeteria, a bustling room filled with the aromas of different kinds of food. As we got in line, we ordered our meals and chatted freely.
Cajun fries and the spicy chicken burger for me. That's my definition of a good meal. I'll take a tuna sandwich and some juice. You're probably going to need water or something to curb all that spicy flavor, Suzu. I can't be tamed by the likes of that. If it's spicy, then it's gotta be all or nothing. You're crazy! Hell yeah, I'm crazy. I think I'm getting a migraine.
I think I'll go with Cajun fries and spicy chicken burger too. Might as well go spicy today. Once we got our food, we settled down at one of the empty tables, putting our backpacks aside to finally dig into the food. Suzu leaned back in the chair, tilting it back so that she could rest her feet on the table by her food.
All right then. Is there anything we want to talk about? Bored already? I know. Let's talk about good boys, and I will never speak to you ever again. Aw, why not? What's so interesting about talking about guys? Not like any of us are gonna get boyfriends anytime soon. We don't know that. What if one of us does get a boyfriend? Like that's going to happen, Naomi. Look at us. I'm a tiny Italian. You're a ditzy blonde. Hey! No offense. And Anderson here. Well, I guess she could land a boyfriend or girlfriend if she wants. Or girlfriend? She can be a lesbian if she wants. True.
That's okay, Suzu. I'm not sure I want a boyfriend yet.
Why not? It's our senior year. Might as well get a boyfriend. Maybe she's just not interested in a relationship, Suzu.
Well, it really wasn't about wanting a relationship, but more of there was no one interesting enough to be in the relationship with. Don't get me wrong, I'm an open person, but there were not many interesting guys in the school to go out with. Who knows? Time will tell. Naomi looked at me wanting to continue the conversation. However, before she could speak, the speakers in the cafe started up an announcement echoed through the cafeteria.
Miss Anderson, please come to the main office immediately. Please bring your things with you.
Oh my. Looks like our plans have been cut short. The men in white coats have finally come to get you.
They're coming to take me away, haha. Okay,
Suzu, don't joke around. Fine. If something happens, just call us.
Funny enough, something did happen, and it was certainly no laughing matter. Cold. It was really cold. The rain became heavier at that afternoon, accompanied by rolling thunder now and then. The skies had turned dark, though I couldn't see any of it under the black umbrella. Not that I was looking up. In fact, looking up was the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. I stared at the grass beneath my feet, unable to look up at the people weeping around me. All I could see was the damp grass under my feet. Only the monotone eulogies that floated through my ear. Oh, really? It was only when the speeches ended that I finally was able to raise my head. A small gathering of people, mostly made of relatives that I didn't even know were related to me, were huddled around a simple, small grave. For a while, all I heard was the sound of raindrops on umbrellas. If it weren't raining, everything would probably be in heavy silence. I looked beside me, where my father was standing and holding up a large black umbrella for our small family of 3. His face was emotionless, a strange sight next to my weeping mother. I wonder what was going through his mind. After all, etched into the smooth, gray tombstone before us was his father's name. Sorry I paused, my cat's being loud. My grandfather, the one who raised me like his own daughter, had passed away that day. The ceremony was small. Only close family were allowed to come. Slowly, though, people began to leave, leaving my father, mother, and me behind at the grave. A man dressed in a clean black suit under the uniform black umbrella of the funeral attendees walked toward us, introducing himself as grandfather's lawyer. He pulled out a few documents from his suitcase and began to read aloud his contents.
And now I shall read Harold Anderson's last will and testament.
Only my parents and I were allowed to be present for my grandfather's will. It was under the strict request of his lawyer, and there was a reason why.
And to my dearest granddaughter, I give my estate. All the furniture and decor that resides within the house shall also be given to my granddaughter.
What? I couldn't believe my ears. I had earned the family estate at 18? That was impossible, and yet it was written by my own grandfather's hand.
He passed the family estate to her? Why am I not surprised?
Dear.
Well, did he say anything about what will become of the CEO and chairman position of the Anderson Toys Company? No. It is presumed that the vice chairman will succeed the position. Even to the bitter end, he wouldn't give in. What a stubborn old man.
Shaking his head, my father turned to face my mother with a serious expression on his face.
About the estate. Should we send her there to get used to the building? It'll be a good place for her to live after high school.
Are you sure we should?
Why not? This would be a good experience for her.
Honey, what do you think?
I really wasn't sure what to say. Why did my grandfather think that I was the appropriate heir to the mansion? Was I even ready to live on my own?
Well, that seems to be it. We'll be taking our leave now. I'm sure the little heiress needs some time to adjust.
David!
Even though she raised her voice, my dad wordlessly began walking back to the car, disinterested.
Don't mind him, honey. I think that your grandfather's passing really affected him. Why don't we get back home for now?
You can go ahead to the car, Mom. I think I need some time alone with Grandpa.
Oh, of course. Take all the time you need.
She gave me a quick hug and hurried after my dad. I looked around the funeral grounds, which was completely empty, save for the sullen-looking grave that was laid in front of me. I'm sure that if Grandpa were in charge of arranging all of this, it would have been much different. It was abundantly obvious that my dad was in charge of the whole event. Who else would bury their own family on the same day they pass away? Everyone knew my grandfather's love for toys, and yet the grave was a mere stone slapped on the ground, void of any children's toys. My dad didn't even bother putting flowers. His disdain for my grandfather was almost pitiful. Sorry, Grandpa. I tried to force out some words, but the only thing that came out was a choked sob. You told me to stay strong, but right now, I'm the furthest from it. Like that one time, long ago. Grandpa!
Oh, it's so good to see you again, sweetie.
I was swept into a giant bear hug, and we both laughed as he swung me around like an airplane. It was one of my favorite things about seeing my grandfather, the way he greeted me, unlike my father. My grandfather was loving and playful, even as I grew older. Sorry that Daddy couldn't be here today. He said that he wasn't feeling too good again. It had always been like that. Dad missed every visit to Grandpa's house, sitting that he was busy, work, or wasn't feeling well.
Is that so? Well, that's okay. Daddy can come around next time. And you're here, right?
Yeah. So, what are we doing today, Grandpa? Mommy says that there's a new dessert cafe open in town. Maybe we could go?
Oh, I would love to. But I've been so busy with the company these days. We're actually working on a little something. Would you like to see?
Yes. Ooh, is that a toy?
It is. I was designing a new line of them, but I feel like something's missing. You don't think you could help me out, could you?
Of course. He placed the toy in my hands with a smile, and I inspected it carefully. It was beautifully crafted.
What do you
Are you
think?
kidding me? He placed the toy in my hands with a smile. I inspected it carefully. It was beautifully crafted, and obviously a lot of work was put into it. There was one thing, though.
So, what do you think?
I think the heart on its chest should light up when you hug it. It'll feel like it's alive, and it can be like a little nightlight before you sleep. He stroked his chin, considering my input, while nodding his head. After a few moments of silent deliberation, he turned to me with a chuckle.
That's a great idea. I'll get to changing it right away. You're always like my little lucky charm, Gail. You always know what to add to make the perfect toy.
Well, I hope I can be like you one day, Grandpa.
You want to make toys as well?
Well, making people happy is the best feeling in the world. I don't know if I want to make toys when I grow up, though.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
That makes sense. Daddy doesn't think of it in the same way, though.
Your father. I'm sure he just wants the best for you.
I'm not so sure about that.
Sweetie, look at me.
He bent down to look me eye level with a serious look on his face.
As much as your father may say something that doesn't make sense now, you must remember that he's always thinking about you. He loves you. There's no doubt about that. And you need to love him just as equally.
I don't hate Daddy. I really do love him. I don't know why he's like this, though.
Your father and I have had some difficulties with each other in the past. But it's nothing that you should be concerned about.
I had heard tidbits of this from my mother and various other people. The only people who had stayed quiet were my father and grandfather. Both of them refrained from saying a word on the subject matter, but it was clear that whatever happened set up a wall between them. It's hard though. It's hard though, trying to pretend as if nothing were wrong.
However, no matter what, you have to stay strong. You're a big girl already, and, well, there'll come a day when it seems like it's you against the world. But always remember that your family and friends will be here with you. Daddy, Mommy, your friends at school, me. We'll stand together to get through it.
How can you be so sure of that?
Because we'll be right here and here.
He pointed his finger to my head first, and then pointed at my chest.
So stay strong. Promise?
For a moment, he looked almost sad, bleeding, but as quickly as it had come, the expression disappeared from his face, and he was all smiles once again. Promise. Upon hearing that, Grandpa let out a burst of laughter and stood up.
All right then. Enough of that. How about I whip up some special homemade dessert? I know I can't accompany you at that new cafe, but we sure can talk and eat while I cook and do some paperwork.
Homemade dessert? I'll race you to the kitchen.
Hey, slow down there. I'm not what I used to be.
You willed me the very home I love to see you in. Why? Why would you think I would be ready to take it? Especially after this? A surge of anger bubbled within me, but I quickly swallowed it. There was no use in getting mad, especially when the person in question was no longer there. I'm sorry, it's hard to stay calm when you left me with so many questions, especially about what happened between you and Dad, and what am I doing? Talking to a grave? My vision blurred, and I suddenly realized that I was crying. My face heated up as tears rolled down my cheeks. I'll bring you some flowers later. I miss you, Grandpa. I'll try my best to fulfill my promise I gave you. even if the world might be turned against me. I left the grave, wiping my ears hastily so my parents wouldn't see.
Well, it's time to head back home. I'll cook up your favorite lasagna when we get home, okay?
Thanks, Mom. However, my dad didn't speak the entire drive home. I wanted to talk to him, but after this moment at the funeral, I wasn't sure if that was a good idea.
It's about time we took off those dreary black clothes.
Gathering my courage, I decided then that it was time to talk. Dad, could I ask you something?
Go ahead.
Why do you want me to move into the estate so soon?
I thought I made that rather clear. The college near your grandfather's house is well known for its business program. You are planning to major in business, yes? Right after you graduate from high school, you'll just live there and can easily...
Oops. But it's so sudden. You decided so quickly right after the funeral.
Don't be so sensitive. If you're like that in the real world, you'll be crushed.
I'm just saying that maybe we could talk a bit more about my future. In reply, my father rubbed his temples and sighed quietly.
After you graduate from college, you'll work at Anderson Family Toys. I have connections since I am part of the board of directors, so you will be guaranteed a spot. That is what we talked about before, yes?
But what if...
Stop mumbling.
But what if I don't want to work here?
Don't be silly. It's the family company, our company. I'm not just going to hand it over to some incompetent vice chairman.
He came closer to me and his face softened.
Look, this is all for the best, okay? You may not know it right now, but you will appreciate it later.
For some reason, when I heard him say that, something snapped at me. I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but it made me feel so angry. Do you even care that grandfather passed away?
Of course I do.
Well, everything seems fine and dandy to you. Things couldn't be better.
Excuse me? I don't like your tone, young lady.
It's like nothing even happened at all. Like you just ignored the fact that he's no longer here.
Do not raise your voice at me.
What did he ever do to you to deserve this? My father, his face hardened, crossed his arms, and erupted in angry laughter.
Ha! You sure place him upon a pedestal, like he's some kind of venerated god or something. It makes me sick.
Is that it? Are you happy seeing grandfather dead while everyone was grieving? Were you holding yourself back from laughing in everyone's faces? Did you feel just a bit happier seeing him lie in the graveyard? A flash of rage crossed his face, and he whipped the back of his hand across my cheek.
You don't know anything! Running your mouth like somehow you know everything that went on, when you're just a little girl that doesn't know how to keep her mouth shut! You did not know my father! You did not know what he was capable of!
Is everything all right? What happened?
Nothing. I'm not hungry. I think I'll just go upstairs.
Honey, wait!
I quickly turned and ran up the stairs to my room. Slamming the door behind me, my breath came in short pants, and for a while, I just leaned against the door to my bedroom, eventually sliding down to sit against it. How did things become like this? My cheeks still throbbed, and I tentatively stood up and looked in the mirror to see how it looked. Hopefully it doesn't bruise. What am I saying? Tears formed in the corners of my eyes, but I blinked them back rapidly. I couldn't cry for the second time today. I had to be stronger than that.
Are you all right? Your father told me nothing happened, but you know your father.
I'm fine. I just lost my appetite.
The lasagna's done, though, and I don't want you skipping any meals. Are you sure?
Yeah, don't worry about me, Mom. I'll come downstairs later to eat.
You're not telling me the whole story.
I just don't want to eat right now.
Please, dear. Tell me what's going on. I wish you would tell me why you're being like this.
I wanted to tell her. A part of me was screaming to tell her what Dad had done. At the same time, I knew she couldn't fix anything. Besides, I was moving out regardless. I remained silent, letting the event remain in the past.
Well, I'll leave your food on the table if you want me to do that.
Finally, my mom left me alone. It was strange to think that she was only a few inches away from me, only separated by a single wooden door. I really didn't know what to do. I needed to do something, anything, to get my mind off of what just happened. Anything would be better than thinking any more about the pain still radiating from my cheek. I was going to move into my grandfather's house tomorrow. I should probably pack my stuff so I would be prepared for tomorrow. Yeah, that was a good idea. I should start packing. I opened the closet, rummaging around for a while before I finally found 2 large bags. Pulling them out onto the floor of my room, I began to empty my drawers and cabinets so that I could bring all of my things with me. I didn't have much to bring other than just clothes and some toiletries. It was kind of bizarre that I didn't have many personal belongings.
You doing some of your homework?
It wasn't like my luggage was completely devoid of them, but I certainly didn't have many things in my room that I would miss if I just suddenly left the house. I shook my head to get rid of myself of those thoughts. If it were going to be my new home, it would have to feel like it. One way or another, I was going to make it a home. Just as I was packing my things, my cell phone began ringing and vibrating in my pocket. I slid my phone out of my pocket and answered it while slowly easing myself onto the bed. Who could possibly be calling? It's your mom.
Anderson, you there? Is everything alright? We were worried about you, so we decided to call. Hello?
I'm really glad you guys called. My voice managed to come out, though it was only a whisper. Oh.
What happened? Are you okay?
Well, I slowly began to tell him about the funeral that afternoon. A small silence followed when I was done recounting what happened, and to my relief, Naomi finally spoke up.
I can't begin to imagine how you must be feeling right now. I'm so sorry. Do you want us to come over right now?
No, it's okay. My dad isn't in a good mood, so could we just keep talking on the phone like this?
Of course! We'd stay on the phone until the crack of dawn. Right, Suzu? Yeah. We're always here if you need us. After all, we wouldn't be the awesome triple threat trio without you, right?
Yeah.
Triple threat trio? That sounds like the name of a gang. Yeah. I mean, we're all taking on the world together. We've got to sound somewhat scary, or else no one's going to take us seriously. What's with you and naming things? You've got to step up your game, Naomi. Falling behind cool kids like Anderson and me. Hey! I'm a cool kid. If anything, I'd say you have to step up your game.
We chatted cheerfully about all sorts of things. Very soon I had forgotten about the events that day and was engaged in a conversation about Naomi's favorite TV show, some program called Sherlock. Is it Sherlock? We all agreed that the actor playing the titular character certainly had a very distinctive look about him, with that long overcoat and scarf warped around his neck. We had many disagreements about who we thought was the coolest character. Yeah, he has really high cheekbones, and his eyes are pretty. Though I do have to say I prefer Jackson. And as a bonus, his actor is just so sassy. I looked at the clock hanging on the wall and realized how late it was. Whoa, it's already 1 a.m. Sorry for keeping you guys up so late. And I'm gonna get the hay for tonight. See you guys at school tomorrow. I should probably shower and go to bed. I can't believe I stayed up this late just to talk to my friends. But it was really nice. Well, to the bathroom I go. I took a relaxing shower. Nothing beat hot water and the feeling of being clean. After drying myself, I promptly dressed in my pajamas and crawled into bed. A nice hot shower after a long day. I'm so glad to finally be in bed. It had been a really... I'm sorry, there's some emphasis, okay? It had been a really long day. I knew that I was wishing for something to change back in class, but I certainly wasn't expecting any of the things that happened today. And I have to go back to school tomorrow. Ugh. I curled up on my side and tightly wrapped blankets around me. I really wasn't in the mood to be returning to school, but my dad probably would make me go just for the sake of it. Time to go to sleep. I reach out to the lamp on my nightstand to turn off the lights. However, my mind was so lost in the passing of my grandfather and the thought of inheriting something so big that it haunted my mind the entire night until the next morning. I shook my head to try to clear the sleepiness out of me to no avail. I really didn't get any sleep last night. It's already time to wake up. Wait, school. As soon as I realized I had to go to school, I slid out of bed and looked at the vanity mirror. That's a relief. Luckily, there was barely a bruise on my cheek. You had to squint to actually see it. I doubted anyone would actually notice it unless they leaned in really close. Breathing out a sigh, I got dressed, took my backpack, and caught the bus to go to school. It wasn't even hours before anyone heard of the news. I was approached in school and given condolences for my loss. However, that wasn't what shocked my friends.
Wait, so you have the whole Anderson house to yourself? Lucky as hell, man. Quit being so sensitive, Naomi. Quit being so vulgar, Suzu. Of course you would side with her. Ha! See, at least she knows how to have fun. I know how to have fun. You don't need to be wild to have fun.
Guys, I'm going there after school today because my parents want me to get used to living there.
Seriously? It hasn't even been a day since you came back to school.
I know, but my parents want me to try living there as soon as possible.
Still, that's really fast. Are you going to be okay?
Of course. But even in the comfort as best friends, life seemed to keep testing me.
Oof. Hey! Don't go around shoving people like that. Whoops. Well, did I strike a nerve, Capini?
I can't. She let out a small laugh as she twirled her hair around her finger. Lisette, one of the last people I wanted to see today.
It's not me you should be apologizing to. Oh, Anderson. Hey, how's it going?
I'm alright.
Haven't you already heard, Lisette? Of what? Her grandfather's passing. Well, I'm sorry about that. I don't really watch a lot of news. It doesn't really sound like you mean it. I do mean it. Earnestly. Why wouldn't I?
Typical Capini. Isn't her family involved with the mafia or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she brought out a bat from behind her back right this moment.
I had nearly forgotten the crowd that followed Lisette, which is mostly comprised of people that no one wanted to see on a typical school day. No one had the slightest idea what exactly they followed as Lisette around persistently, but they labeled themselves as social equals with her.
That is out of line. Suzu comes from an honest family,
says the one whose family profits from political scandals. Yeah, your dad doesn't make anything unless he's in the court with dirty politicians.
Hey, let's all calm down for a second, all right? I'm sure Anderson needs some time to recuperate. I mean, what just happened? We need to give her some respect.
Just stop. Stop acting like that already. Like you feel sorry for me.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure you're happy seeing me like this. You already have everything you've wanted, and now seeing me like this, life couldn't get any better. Bitterness seeped into me, and words started flying out of my mouth without filter. But honestly, I didn't care. I was so confused by anger that I only saw Lisette in front of me. What exactly am I to you? Just another part of your obstacle course? Is that what I am? I'm sick of it, Lisette. I'm sick of all these charades. I'm sick of you. Gasps arose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hallway. Even my friends beside me looked at me in surprise. One girl looked like she was going to speak up, but Lisette held her hand up to stop her. There was an emotion on her face that I couldn't quite make out, but I could see a form of pity in her eyes. No, don't you dare pit at me. I looked away from her. I didn't want to see that emotion in her eyes when she was talking to me. She didn't have the right to look at me that way.
I'm sorry. I know your grandfather passing away must have really taken a toll on your emotion.
She stepped towards me and put her hand on my shoulder, giving me a tiny smile, as if for old time's sake. But for some reason, I didn't feel comforted at all. Not that I was just angry at her, but the expression on her face when she leaned in close to me contoured it into something complex. Something was different about her. I couldn't quite place my finger on it, but something about her had definitely changed.
Well, I'll be going for now. Track meet responsibilities and all of that stuff. See you later.
Something about Lisette made me uncomfortable. I wasn't just angry, but also uneasy. What was it? I've never seen her like that before. But I decided to pay no further attention to it. She continued running down the hallway with her gaggle of friends. Well, quote-unquote friends behind her. I refocused my attention to Miss Phillips, who was walking down the hall towards me.
Is everything all right, girls?
Nothing we couldn't handle, Mrs. P. Just a bunch of snobs. Suzu, hush! It was nothing, Mrs. Phillips.
I see. Well, Miss Anderson, please accept my condolences for your loss.
Thank you, Miss Phillips.
Your grandfather was a good man. He really upheld the philanthropy of his company's policies, and the money that went towards charity, too.
I know. He was amazing. I really looked up to him, and I want to be as good as he was.
Well, I know that you'll be as great as your grandfather. Hell yeah, she will. She'll be 10 times better than her grandfather.
Would I really be better than my grandfather? Everyone seemed to have high expectations for me. I wanted to do my best and make my family proud, but to be better than my grandfather? I wasn't sure about that. From outside the school window, I saw a familiar blue car pull up to the curb. Undoubtedly, it was my father in the driver's seat. My ride's here. Well, I guess I'll see you both tomorrow.
Want us to come with you?
Oh, no, it's okay. I'll be fine. See ya. Hey, Dad.
Hey, honey.
As I got into the car, I noticed my father looked troubled, clutching at his steering wheel and staring straight ahead as if something was really bothering him.
About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry for yelling at you. Does your cheek still hurt?
It's nothing to worry about.
I mean it. I shouldn't have laid a finger on you. You know that you're my most precious daughter. You're all that I have.
Yet he couldn't bring him to say what he could never say to me for such a long time. I always wanted to hear those words to affirm how he really felt, but I guess even now he couldn't say it to me. I turned my head away to look out the window. There was no point in waiting for something that was never going to come. And like that, he started to jive, and the conversation between us ended. I decided to focus my attention on the passing scenery, where we were taking the usual route to grandfather's house. It was located within the vicinity of the school district, but it was still pretty far from the school and from where our house was. He had always lived alone. He insisted on doing things by himself, even at his age, living in such a large house. I wondered, did he pass away with no one at his side as well? It sounded so lonely and sad. It was strange that he decided on living all alone in his large estate. If anything, he could have lived with us. Though he and my father probably would have given each other the silent treatment the entire time. Maybe living alone was preferable to that? I actually hadn't visited him for quite a while. Visits to his house were most frequent when I was a child, and I had grown up long since then. The last time I visited, though, I thought he looked just as he usually was, happy and healthy. But things change. In the back of my mind, I knew that he would have to leave one day. It wasn't like humans could live forever. So why did my heart still feel so heavy? The car ride was mostly spent in silence, until he spoke up again.
How was school? Maintaining your grades, I hope.
Yeah, I've been trying to do my best.
Trying? That's not really doing the best you can, is it?
With my father, only some words I said were filtered through his ears. It was difficult to keep up a conversation without eventually talking about academics or my future, even if it was something loosely based on it. He always found a way to interrogate it whenever we talked.
Anyway, your belongings are in the trunk. There isn't a lot, so I'm sure you can manage bringing them inside the house. After all, you are on the road to being independent now.
Yes, I can manage on my own. They usually silence resumed between us. I really wasn't sure what to say around him, especially when most of the time we didn't share the same opinions. One question did linger in my mind, though. If he was going to justify acting so nonchalant at grandfather's funeral, I had the right to at least know why. Say, Dad, about you and Grandpa.
We are not talking about this.
I feel like we should be, because Grandpa did leave us yesterday, so...
I wouldn't care if he had left even long before that. I do not want to hear it, and that is the end of this conversation.
As always, he managed to shut down any form of conversation related to him. It was just like what happened last night. I opened my mouth slightly, but I closed it again. It was like talking to a brick wall. It wasn't like I could find out anything by somehow arguing my way through it. Oh, wow. Okay. Alright then. I leaned against the car door and stared out the window. I really couldn't think. What would this place be like? I had been to my grandfather's house before, but it was one thing visiting and it was another thing actually living there. How would I manage living on my own without any training to really care for a house? I knew that naturally the bills would be paid by my parents, who inherited grandfather's stocks to the corporation. But I had never lived independently before. Thinking about it makes me feel like some kind of bird being pushed out of the nest. Though I was technically an adult, I felt unprepared and a bit daunted at the prospect of actually moving into one place. Spread your wings, girl. Most people my age would be ecstatic about moving out. After all, it would symbolize something of change in their life, like being on the road to independence. But I felt like it was something off of the sort. I really hoped I wouldn't let my parents down. I wouldn't want to let grandfather down. What would he be saying right now? I gazed up at the passing clouds in the sky. If you're out there, grandfather, how would you be doing? Would there be anything you'd want to tell me at this moment? And, of course, no answer. What was I doing? Searching for an answer in a heaven that would or would not exist? I ducked my head to stare at the blur of the trees and cars from the car window. My head was definitely going into the clouds there at the moment. Either way, I found myself being driven off to my new home. The car rolled to a stop, and I drifted out of my thoughts.
Here we are. Go on in.
All right. Tell Mom I love her.
All right.
I love you, Dad. No, make sure to come by and visit us often. No, I'm going to miss you lots. Nothing other than a blank stare. I paused a bit before reaching the car door handle, waiting for any form of goodbye, but he didn't speak again. I sighed and exited the car. Hearing my dad pop open the trunk, I saw the 2 large bags I packed last night that were large enough to carry only the things I needed. I took them out, placed 1 bag on each shoulder, and closed his trunk. He then drove off, leaving me alone in front of the mansion. I watched the blue car fade into the distance of the road before turning to see my new home. There it is. It's huge. My grandfather gave me this. It's hard to believe. The house was formed by a set of tall gates, and I hesitantly pushed them aside to take in the entire estate. The house still looked like it was when I last visited him. At a glance, it seemed kind of intimidating with its size. Though, if I came closer to it, it was clear that there was more to it than that. The brick walls were framed by shrubbery and lovely flowers, giving it a homey and welcoming look. But it contrasted to the tall doors into the house gave me a feeling of grandeur. Who knew that was waiting? Who knew it was waiting for me? But I went back down at this moment. I took the key to the front doors and unlocked them. Well, might as well make myself at home. I'll be staying here for quite a while anyways. That's when I saw them. Lying on the floor was a group of men. They were all unconscious, but there was no explanation as to why they were there in the first place. I dropped my bags as I left the door closed on its own behind me. Who the heck are these guys? Why are they here? What's going on? Some of them had open wounds. The blood was staining the floor and the scent was intermingling with the air. I couldn't help but feel bad for them instinctively, but nevertheless I was shocked and a bit angry at the sudden intrusion. My mind suddenly went from caring and concern to confused and demanding answers. Who are you guys? No response. I'll call the police. Still nothing. None of them seemed to wake, answer, or respond to me. It seems surreal to have random strangers in the house I just moved into, but I wanted answers quickly. That was until... Get away from me!
Woman, you're going to let me kiss you.
Gladly. I couldn't believe it myself, but within a mere blink of an eye, one of the men went from lying on the floor to being right in front of my face. What was even more odd was the fact that I felt serene and calm about it. Slowly a desire burned from my chest, telling me to accept this kiss, even when my mind vehemently refused. Go ahead.
Good.
As he kissed me, I could feel my body go weak. I didn't know why, but that kiss was draining me out of my energy, and yet it was so good and made my heart sing. It was a strange tingling feeling that danced over every nerve on my body. I could feel streams of intentional energy run up my body and into my lips. It felt odd, but at the same time, it felt amazing.
Sam, stop it.
The person kissing me, Sam was his name? I glanced behind him.
I said stop. Now.
Fine.
Finally, he pulled back, and I was left standing there in a daze. I couldn't tell what was going on. My mind was completely enwrapped by the kiss, and my thoughts that melted into the depths of my forgotten memories.
Please forgive my brother. He's a bit reckless.
At least I feel a hell of a lot better than you right now.
Because you used your abilities on her.
Ooh.
Sam, you're such a reckless brute. Taking advantage of a beautiful young woman like her.
Shut that pretty boy mouth of yours before I rip it off your pretty boy face.
Sheesh, you guys. Can we not fight right now? Not all of us are in the best state.
I guess you are right, Matthew.
I agree.
However, as the men got up and started to chat freely, my thoughts began to resemble it, and I remembered my confusion and anger once again, only now multiplied tenfold. Oh,
Huh? Did you say something beautiful?
And I exploded. What is going on? Why the hell are you here in my house? Why are you all wounded? Why did you kiss me? Who are you guys? I couldn't help exploding, but after being taken advantage of and being left in a mush state, my words escaped without filter. I definitely scared the men around me, even the man who kissed me. Wait a second, the guy who kissed me.
Ouch! What's your problem?
What's your problem? You can't just go around forcing people to kiss you like that. Are you some kind of pervert?
Pervert? It was only a kiss.
It meant nothing to you, but it means a lot to me.
What? Was it your first kiss? Ow! Hey, what was that for?
I know first kisses aren't exactly amazing and full of sparkles and something of a fairy tale, but I at least expected it to be more than just something forced.
So it was your first kiss. Stop
Self-voicing
making such a big
enabled.
deal out of it.
Did I know first kisses aren't exactly amazing and full of sparkles and something out of a...
Oh.
Self-voicing disabled.
Are you asking to get punched again?
Well, what do you want me to do? It's not like I can somehow take it back.
Ask for an apology. That would be decent. You should at least apologize. That would suffice. As if to himself, he muttered something under his breath.
Why do I always look like the bad guy? Apologies aren't my forte, but I'll try my best. Okay, fine. I'm sorry.
Sorry about what?
I'm sorry for kissing you like that. I went too far.
He sighed and ran his fingers through his hair.
I didn't mean for it to turn out that way. It's just, I act on impulse, okay? It's difficult to control myself and... What am I saying?
It's okay. I get what you're trying to say. Thank you for the apology.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyway, if you try to pull any funny business in the future, just a fair warning. I know Taekwondo. I think I'm bigger enough. It's time to get back to the main issue. So, what exactly are all of you doing in my house?
Miss, please forgive us in our intrusion. We didn't know this abode belonged to anyone, nor did we have the time to take that into consideration.
Nor did we ever consider that you'd be kinky, but we found that out. What do you mean? You don't just barge into people's homes.
We wouldn't have had to if we weren't as wounded as we are currently. We just escaped from a deadly fight that could have ended our lot. Luckily for us, your home was near, the windows were unlocked, so we quickly came inside.
The last time I remember, there were laws preventing strangers from stepping on private property, although considering the severity of their wounds, it had to be serious. I guess it explains the wounds, but not why he kissed me. He had absolutely no right to do that.
Well, lovely flustered lady, it's hard to explain, truly. We're not exactly normal.
Not normal? What are you guys, demons or something? I asked almost jokingly, but the boy seemed to take my question differently.
Well, yeah, actually, something like that.
We're incubi, miss. Demons who consume and use sexual energy of humans to survive.
Yeah. Incubi, the fabled demons that exist to haunt humans and make them sex-crazed monsters, the mythical beings that could look like anyone just to get into your pants, the imaginary monsters you only saw in movies or on TV.
Hello? Did you hear him?
We're telling the truth.
Do you think she's still crossed?
Yes, and she'll understand right about...
Right. It was funny while it lasted, but it's time to cut the joke short. Incubuses don't exist. There was no way they existed. That would be practically impossible.
Incubi is the correct plural form. And yes, we do exist.
Prove it. As soon as the words left my mouth, I instantly regretted them.
Very well. Eric, go ahead.
Very well. My sweet, you're so tempting with such
Got those
non-belief.
Christopher Escalante
Let me ease your mind
eyes.
with a tender kiss. I promise you'll enjoy every minute of it, and maybe you'll even want more.
Okay. What? Once again, I was lost in a pool of calm and serenity. Staring into Eric's eyes, I felt waves of heat coursing through my chest and onto my face, painting my cheeks red in their wake. I couldn't help but nod and agree to his offer. Yeah, okay. With another kiss, my heart began to flutter once again in my chest, and my mind was spinning in a heated, passion-filled pleasure. Yet, I could feel my body drain of energy as he kissed me.
All right, that's enough.
Aw, very well. I feel so much better.
As he pulled away, I was left in a mental mush bowl. I felt weak in the knees, despite my will demanding me to stand straight in front of the boys before me. The world around me began to spin as I tried to speak. I think I'm going to...
Where are our manners?
Miss, are you okay? Shit. She fainted.
I couldn't believe it. Incubi, real. It all spun around in my head until I saw only black. Floating into the darkness, my mind kept replaying the scene over and over again, reminding my body of the touch. Oh, wow. Okay. However, I began to feel smooth silk around me, and my eyeballs unwillingly opened. Where? I awoke to find myself in an unfamiliar place. Where was Mom? Dad? I was pretty sure this wasn't my room. Oh, wait, I lived in my in-law. Yeah. I was still in the clothes that I arrived in the house in, but I was laying in...
You're awake.
Since when was he standing there? And who the heck is he? A guy in my bedroom? Did we... There's no way. Sorry, I was saying my thoughts out loud. Why was I apologizing to a stranger who only said 2 words since I woke up? Wait, he looked eerily familiar. Then it all came back to me. Incubuses. He was an incubus. He and his brothers came here for refuge, and the 2 of them kissed me, and then I fainted. And that was how things came to this. Oh. He was laying against the far wall, looking at me. My heart began to race as I thought of the endless list of possibilities. The situation brought me. I hated the thought of being under an incubus's power, especially in the bedroom. Girl, you gonna be calm. I took a deep breath. I was sure that if any of them wanted to take advantage of me, they would have already. Yeah, I'm awake now.
That's good.
I saw a small form of a smile on his face, which made me blush a bit. Why, though? One thing still concerned me, though.
I'm not going to use my powers on you.
How?
I can read minds. It's an ability I was born with. Each of us has a different ability, outside of our usual mind-altering powers.
Great. Even more surprises. I grew even more worried about the situation I was in. I see. How long have I been asleep?
For a few hours. It's already gotten quite dark outside.
Oh, well, where are the others?
My brothers are downstairs, cleaning up the blood from the lobby floor. And making you dinner as an apology.
Oh, okay. That's unexpectedly sweet.
Oh, it's the least we can do after invading your home and 2 of us using our powers on you.
Oh, it's such a sweet voice, I can't breathe. You've got a point. Right, I had forgotten about that. it still irked me that they had particularly taken advantage of me at that point. Even if they were demons, it was pretty rude to demonstrate their powers by kissing me. I wasn't some kind of human plaything. All of this seemed pretty... Maybe I should have just called the police on them. Then I would never have landed myself in this situation.
Do you feel well enough to get out of bed?
Yeah, I think so. Whoa!
Trust me, I won't let you go.
Stop. I'm not supposed to be into you. I'm supposed to be into James and Sam. I'm not so sure about this.
I promise.
Okay. I trust you.
Good.
I was speechless. He was carrying me as if I weighed nothing. He was so strong.
Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot.
It's alright. I'm used to it.
I decided to close my mouth for the time being so that I wouldn't weird him out or make things more awkward than they already were. Well, he didn't seem to mind carrying me or listening to me talk, so at least things were too strange. Damien seemed very quiet and calm about everything, especially with the situation we were in. However, there was sort of longing in his eyes when he looked at me that wasn't lustful. It was more in admiration. Once we reached the lobby, I decided that I felt well enough to walk on my own. As strong as he was, it was like he was carrying nothing. I didn't want to make him carry me everywhere. Yeah, that would be mortifying. Thanks for carrying me, but I think I can walk myself now. Not saying that I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it, not in a weird way, of course. It's not like I get carried around all the time. What I'm trying to say is that it was really nice of you to do that. I started to fumble over my words again. Real smooth.
It's no problem. I'll be heading to the dining room then.
Alright, see ya. He gently lowered me to the ground before he walked off quietly, disappearing into the shadows of the dark lobby.
Oh, hi!
What a... Suddenly, a boy who looked around my age, or possibly younger, bounced up. To me, he looked vaguely familiar. Wait. Oh, you're Matthew, right?
Mm-hmm, that's me. Are you feeling any better now? We were all worried when you suddenly passed out.
Why? I'm not supposed to be into you. I'm fine.
Really? Your face is kind of red. Do you feel sick?
No, I'm fine. I'm sure of it. I must have been blushing when Damien was carrying me downstairs. How embarrassing.
Well, if you say so. I hope Sam and Eric didn't make you upset.
It's okay after all. I did hit sand after what he did, and about Eric, I just wanted you guys to prove to me that what you're saying. I suppose incubi are real then? I wonder how exactly I got myself into this mess. First, my grandfather, then a fight with my father, blowing up a set, and now this. I certainly had a knack for getting myself into a sticky situation.
Oh, I have an idea.
He shoved his hands in his pocket with a cheery grin on his face.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Is he trying to do a magic trick?
Ta-da!
Oh. What is that exactly? It's Simon. He smiled as it...
Wait a second. What did I just make? This is...
What he produced from his pocket was a creepy-looking doll.
Oh,
his name is Simon. Okay. It sounded like that freaking peanut butter baby. I'm not sure. Shut up, Simon. His face paled considerably, and he dropped it onto the floor, scooting away from it frantically.
Get it away from me! It might be possessed by a demon or something.
You are a demon. But isn't he a demon himself?
That's not what I wanted to make. I just wanted to...
He slumped his shoulders and looked down at his feet. It's okay. You don't have to look so dejected. I mean, it's certainly unique. I think I'll keep it.
But it looks so creepy.
It's a thought that counts, right? You wanted to cheer me up after all. I picked up the doll and looked at it closely. Sure, it looked pretty weird at first, but it could be cute if I looked at it from a certain angle. I gave him a small smile. Thanks.
You're welcome. It's good to see you smiling, even though the thing I made still kind of creeps me. Anyway, you should come with me to the dining room. We're almost finished with the food, and, well, I don't mean to brag, but we're pretty decent chefs.
Sounds great. Lead the way. Something smells good. Last time I grumbled in agreement, I was starving.
Oh, the girl's awake.
Bitch, I love you, but stop. Excuse you. I have a name, you know.
Should we really care?
Fight me.
Sam, I will roast that tongue for dinner if it doesn't stop flapping in that idiotic mouth of yours.
Whatever.
I apologize for his attitude.
Oh, that's fine.
Good. I hope you'll enjoy the meal we prepared for you.
Meal? For a second, my mind didn't understand what James meant. Maybe it was the doll getting in my head and distracting me. That's right. Damien and Matthew mentioned that they were making dinner as an apology. Oh wait, you didn't have to.
We insist. Besides, it's quite impossible to undo our cooking, even if you command us to.
I don't know, Matthew seems to be really good at magic tricks. Alright, well, thank you. Matthew put down the last of the plates on the table and bowed a bit, exaggeratedly to me. Gesturing,
there we
my
go.
God, I hate
Dinner's all served.
The table was filled with various foods from and there were yet more and more plates than I could possibly imagine. Whoa, that's a lot of food, and it all looks so good.
We hope you enjoy it, my sweet.
What? Sweet? Me?
That's enough, Eric.
I'm okay.
You're no fun, James.
I don't need to be fun, Eric. Miss, please follow me.
Gladly. I didn't know what came over me, whether it was his politeness or maybe his power, but I couldn't help but to take his offer on, because he's beautiful. James seemed very kind and intelligent, but aside from that, there was something that set him apart from his brothers, not to mention he didn't really seem to hold much appreciation for them.
Miss, I have to ask, why do you live alone?
Oh, well, it's kind of a long story.
I'm all ears if you wish to tell.
Gladly. To put it briefly, I just moved here today.
That explains the luggage you brought in when you came through the front doors. By the way, we put your belongings in the room you were sleeping in. That seems to be the master bedroom, I believe.
Thanks. This house is really big. I didn't think I explored the entire state when I was a child.
You lived here before?
No. Truth be told, this is my grandfather's house. I used to visit him all the time when I was younger.
May I ask why you now live in your grandfather's house?
He actually passed away yesterday. It was bequeathed to me and in his will, and I was sent to live here, whether I liked it or not.
My condolences. It seems like you don't like the idea of living here.
It's not that I don't like this house, or that I don't have fond memories of it being here. It's just the implications that come with staying at this estate. It's kind of complicated to explain.
How do you feel about it?
I certainly wasn't expecting that question, but in a good way. It was different from what I heard the entire day at school. I appreciated the fact that he was willing to listen. I feel angry, sad, scared, and confused. It's hard picking out the different emotions that I'm feeling right now. I wish I was stronger.
You don't have to be strong.
What do you mean?
I understand that you're going through a difficult time, so it's okay to feel those emotions. You don't have to be strong at all.
His voice is so amazing. I can't. Thank you.
Are you alright? There seems to be a small bruise on your cheek.
Oh, shit. He caught me off guard with that comment. I thought no one would have noticed something as small as that. Oh, I'm fine. He stopped and leaned close, a bit too close for comfort, or maybe it was just me inspecting my face. He was really quite tall, having to bend over so much to look at me. I didn't just fangirl inside. I'm so not what you mean. It was hard to look at him, especially when he was being so close. After a few seconds, he straightened up and began walking again. How could you?
Well, if you're having any problems, I'm always here to listen.
That's really kind of you to offer that.
My pleasure. Here's your seat.
Let me get your chair for you, lovely lady.
Eric was very charming, and his smile pulled at my heart. The way he kept flirting with me definitely doesn't it? It's charmer of the demons. Yet there was a little distant in his eyes.
By the way, I apologize for my behavior earlier. Stealing your second kiss like that.
Are we counting now? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. When I didn't believe that they were incubi. It's fine, I guess. I mean, you didn't just get up and grab a kiss for no reason.
I'm not as forward, unlike Sam.
Suddenly, Eric leaned in and whispered in my ear.
I won't lie, though. I enjoyed kissing you and feeling you melt in my arms.
Oh, I just had a heart attack. I pterodactyl screeched so hard that my heart fell out of my body. Ow. I'm having heart palpitations. I was torn between smacking him and trying to play it cool. I just had a straight up heart palpitation. You sure are quite the charmer.
Yes, I am known for that.
I can officially say that a game gave me a heart attack. As much as I do appreciate the constant compliments, you don't have to keep talking to me like that.
Like what?
He batted his eyelids as if he had no idea what I was talking about, and I couldn't help but laugh. Well, like you're trying to get in my pants half the time.
I can assure you, I'm just a lover of beautiful women.
Something tells me that there's more than that. For a moment, he looked away, losing a bit of a smile. Before I could question it, though, he turned back to me with a new teasing smile.
Did you want there to be more?
Oh, stop. I'm gonna fucking have a heart palpitation again. I didn't want to hit him, but I didn't know how to react, so I couldn't look at him. He merely chuckled again in my ear.
Sorry. You just look so cute when you're blushing.
How long have I been recording for? Oh no. I swear, if it's over an hour, I'm gonna cry. Like, physically. I apparently cannot see.
I hope you'll enjoy dinner, however, my dear.
Well, I'm gonna have to say I've been recording for way too long. This will have to be part 1 of James's route. I'm so sorry, but my throat is really, really hurting. And I had an actual heart palpitation. No joke, I'm in pain. But, I guess all I can really say is bye. I guess I'll just go offline. I don't know why I did that. But again, look in the bio. And then you'll see all the links to the credits of the creator and the voice actors and the links to their channels as I can find. But without further ado, I'll see you tomorrow, because that's when I'm making part 2. Well, in the afternoon. It's already tomorrow. Oh my god, I've been recording for an hour. Bye bye.